Welcome to Talking Voiceovers with me, Gail Goslin. We'll be chatting to Ryan Zimbler and Pieter of Oakfields College about the voiceover course they offer. Welcome to Talking Voiceovers.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So Ryan and Pieter, one at a time, tell us a little bit about yourselves. Who are you and what do you do?
I'm Pieter, obviously, and I'm a lecturer in all things performance art, really. Drama, acting, voiceover work, radio, broadcast. So I've been teaching for, I think it's 13 years now.
And you, Ryan?
So I'm Ryan Zimbler. I'm currently now the principal of the East Rand campus, also director, started the campus up in 2012. And we've been running pretty well since then.
So you're also a sound engineer, Ryan, right?
That's correct.
And you play in a band?
Yes. I play for a band called the Barcode Bandits. We play at any live venues we can get into and record our own stuff, and I'll do all the mixing, mastering, and editing, and so on. And then me and Pieter actually, when Pieter started teaching this course, we actually joined co-related, where I would help out with the studio sections and stuff like that. And now Pieter pretty much runs it all by himself.
You said the East Rand campus, so I take it there are more than one campus.
Correct. So we have campuses in Pretoria as well as in Somerset West in Cape Town. It's all creative courses. So we basically focusing on all students that want to study drama, fashion, film, animation, graphic design, photography, event management, marketing management, sound engineering. And I probably missed a few there, but that's pretty much the gist of what we do.
Tell us about the course that we want to hear about now, the voiceover and radio presenter course.
Okay, so I'll start off and I'll basically give the nitsies. We basically run a short program course, about 10 weeks long, where it's contact classes. We don't believe in online teaching, especially when it comes to these industries. We want our students to work with people that are in the industry and understand how it works and how it goes on a day-to-day basis. And obviously we try and push our students to even more. So our part-time courses aren't just stuck to a teaching schedule. If our students are all focused on trying to do something different, we try and lead them in that way as much as we can to go through. I think on the course itself, I think Pieter can give you a much better breakdown of what is covered.
What we basically try and, if we look at the philosophy of the course, if I can put it that way, it's about training the voice and obviously the body and the face as well, but focusing on the voice for the medium of television and radio broadcast, how to use your voice in a professional capacity, and when it's required for certain aspects of that. For instance, television work, quite a variety of television work, and then switching to radio, how to manipulate the voice in a sense to fit the professional situation that you require it for. It's pretty much, I'd say, 90% practical. The whole idea of sitting behind a desk and lecturing, that takes up very little of the time. It's maybe 10% of that, but very quickly the theory goes over into practical application. And then it's pretty much one-on-one. Each student gets their moment practically applying the knowledge that they were taught. And by practicing, that's how you get the practical to a point where you can actually do it, make a career of it or pursue something.
Okay, so it's not just voiceovers, it's also radio presenting and TV presenting on and off camera. What is the difference between the three?
Well, obviously television, you've got a visual medium.
Yeah.
So it's not just about what the voice does, it's also what you look like in a sense.
Right.
Radio work is pretty much the voice and also very much communication skills. Radio is about talking, it's about keeping a conversation alive. And then obviously you get the more technical parts of the course. For instance, putting the voice on for something like an ad, where a specific type of voice or specific emotion or situation is required. So we also teach the technical skills of the voice in that sense.
Okay, so whereas radio is ad-lib talking and voiceover would be off a script. So it's a different thing altogether, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And do you also then teach voiceovers how to edit their own audio?
So unfortunately, in the core subject itself, we don't go into that depth. We're mainly focusing on the voice and the presenter role specifically. We do, however, hold the sound engineering part-time course separately. So students can sometimes mirror the course, study voiceover acting and do sound technology at the same time. And there they will learn how to do the edit, the crossfades, the moving and everything. We've got a number of students from the past that have gone into a lot of community stations, and they've gone and actually either both sides, where they've actually done the voiceover work, had their own channels start running, And we've also had some sound students that have gone and just helped with the techie stuff and, push some faders.
Does it actually help to be a sound engineer when you are a voiceover talent, in your opinion?
I think starting off it does, because I think once again, a lot of the students that have gone into the community stations, they want you to kind of be a one-man show. So they do kind of want you to be able to go in there, control the desk, and they wouldn't have a dedicated techie to sit there and help you out. So I definitely think it's a good tool to have, to be able to just be a double threat really, and self-manageable. So I think also quite a big thing, I think if you're looking at the younger market, so the guys that maybe just finished school, and if this was a career path that you were looking to go into in the future, I think drama is definitely your next best option to go into. Even though drama does go a lot more bigger in a sense of you're going into stage acting, you're going into film acting, and then you're going into radio acting. But all your principles of communication, speech, and speaking, it all falls into that drama course. So I definitely think to all the younger listeners, the guys that are finishing school and this is the career path you want to go, drama is definitely the way that's going to give you an all-rounded aspect to an acting level. So our part-time courses at Oakfields College are mainly designed for the working person, and especially someone that's always dreamed about doing something like this and go study further. Now, what makes it harder is that in the past, there weren't all these options. For a lot of our part-time students, when they left school, it was very simple courses that they had to go do, or the very norm courses. And things have grown so much in the industry that everything is being offered left, right, and center. So our part-time is kind of there to just give a pat on the back and say, hey, you can still do something in that field and get a touch on it. So we run like 10-week courses, like our part-time course. So it'll basically be one class a week where the students will come in and do a lot of practical work. It's not sitting behind a desk with your notepad and writing down. I think last night we ran our first session for this semester, and he's already had them behind the camera on their first day of coming into class. So it really is, you're going to come in and just all hands on deck and be thrown in the deep end and start, you're going to learn how to swim quickly type of thing. And yeah, so I mean, as Pieter mentioned a little bit earlier, we cover a lot of like the vocal development side of things, the role of the presenter, and that's always going to depend on what presenting point are you taking. Are you doing radio presenting or are you doing TV presenting? You also go through the versatile presenter, making people all-rounded as much as possible. And a little bit of the studio protocol, because I think a lot of times people that go into the studio, things like you're wearing headphones at the moment, and in the studio they're called cans. So it's those types of knowledge that we try and let the students, so they don't get caught off guard when they get told, put your cans on. You sit there and don't know what the hell you're doing.
And also marketing themselves, or how to land the job in the industry.
So that is stuff that our lecturers will also do, to kind of just give them a good step in the door, what's the right steps to go through. And like I do every year, I'll send the database to our community stations and all the stations that we've got connections with. Like I work quite closely with Eden Radio, and then there's Mix FM and so on. So I always send them through, and they'll always kind of pick out of the baskets and contact a couple of guys.
Oh, that's fabulous. So they've got some ready-made avenues to once they qualify.
Yeah, exactly. I think the biggest thing is like exactly what you're doing now. We're moving into the podcast era and like the online era, where trying to let students know that you don't have to be under a reputable name to be able to do your passion. Start your own thing up and get yourself going.
It's all about creativity.
It is all about creativity, exactly. And I mean, the whole world is all about content nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. So it does help to have the other courses as well under your wing, because then you can mix and match and do something original.
Exactly. And it is something we're looking at the moment. I'm busy talking with the other directors. We're looking at trying to put together a content management course or a content course for the students. I think it's a big thing. I think if you speak to students today from Matric, they're all saying to you they want to have their YouTube channels and they want to have all their online presence. So we hopefully will be able to push something out fairly soon that will be able to quench that thirst of the market.
Brilliant idea. Content creation course. Amazing. I might even join you. Get better at doing this.
And that's the beauty of it, because we have everything under one roof. We've got the film equipment, we've got the photo equipment, we've got the computers, the labs, animation software, graphic software. It's all here. So it's just a matter of coordinating it.
Hit like if you're enjoying this interview. And can past students come into the college and use your equipment if they don't have it at home, to just get started on a higher basis, maybe your studio?
Yeah, so we do. And we also work out extremely great packages for them. So past students are always welcome to use our facilities. Obviously, our main goal would be the current students. They come first with everything. If they need to book the studio, that will take priority over an outsourced booking. But we give our students a very good pricing in our recording studios and stuff like that. And I mean, our facilities like recording studios and stuff are also open to the public. So if someone wants to come and record something, they can let us know and we'll give them a quote. And we're very affordable. That's not our bread and butter. That's just trying to help out wherever we can.
So where can they contact you or the college?
So basically, I think the place to find everything in one spot would be the Oakfields College website, which is basically oakfieldscollege.co.za. Alternatively, you can give us a call on 010-591-7314 and email address jhb@oakfieldscollege.co.za. And then obviously you can find us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and all that.
Cool. And you've got some open days coming up still.
Yeah, so our next few open days are coming up. We've got Saturday 22nd of May and also Saturday the 14th of August and then Saturday 13th of November. So our part-time courses have started now. And they started last night and they're starting this Saturday. But alternatively, we normally run a second leg in June, July. And so if guys want to apply, get in contact with us. We'll send you all the documentation.
That's great. So it gives them some time to think about it and get their act together.
Their act together, yeah, exactly that. And basically, we open Monday to Friday, 8 until 5. I like to look at it that every day is open day. So people are welcome to just pop in if they want to come see the facilities, see what we have to offer. There'll always be someone here that can walk people around, show them what we've got and what we do.
So if you had one piece of advice to give to somebody who's aspiring to become a voice artist, radio DJ, TV presenter, sound engineer, any of those things, what would that be?
I think my side, I think it's always, you just never settle for less. You should always just push for it. And I'm not saying that in a sense of like a job. I think if something comes your way and it might be the bottom of it, go for it and do that. And if it's not what you're wanting to do, don't sit there and just say, get used to it. Keep growing and keep developing and look around and see what there is. And I think a lot of people from last year, they got quite affected quite hectically with the lockdown. And I think a lot of people's motivational levels have dropped. And I think they've kind of hit this dead end where they're just I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not worried. I'm so worried about what's happening in the world right now. This is all going to pass. And, unfortunately, a lot of doors have closed from this, but that means that there's new doors that need to be opened. And the people that are driven now will open those doors eventually and become the new leaders.
That's true. And you, Pieter, what would be your piece of advice?
I think what I would say is definitely take that first step. Do that first thing, even if it's doing something like a short course, because that idea would sit in your mind for so long, and a good idea will stay an idea if you don't put it into action and you take that first step. And for something, I think like voiceover work or presenting on television and radio, it's not the average or the most taken course out there. So it might be a bit more scary, but it's all about taking the first step. Once you get the ball rolling, it sort of sometimes rolls on its own a little bit without you having to necessarily push it down the hill. So take that first step and take the risk, basically.
That's excellent advice. Actually, I want to ask you, since you mentioned the pandemic, and how can I forget about it, what do you do currently at the college, since you're all about face-to-face and contact? What are your COVID-19 precautions?
Look, obviously, we've got our sanitizing stations and everything. We've got the screening process that everyone kind of has to do. That's the normal stuff. I think where it hit us the hardest was our full-time courses with the students coming in every day. And basically what we did was we went into an emergency remote teaching process where we put students onto WhatsApp groups and to online platforms where we could carry on. But that wasn't replacements of classes. That was purely designed to keep the cogs turning in the students' heads and keep them motivated in the course they want to do. It didn't replace their marks or anything like that. When we came out of lockdown, because we're such a small institution, a lot of your universities were limited to numbers and stuff like that, and therefore could only bring third years in back, and your first and second years still stay at home longer. But because we're such a small college, we were able to bring back first, second, and third years of classes and carry on. And we extended our academic calendar, and the students provided the same amount of work as any previous year, and they the same quality of student from any previous year. So it is. I mean, if we part time, it was a matter of a reschedule and a push out because we can't. I don't feel like it's something you can just supplement with online. It's just that physical connection you have with someone that can teach you and show you, and going to a recording studio, that it can't be replaced to me. I think that nerve you get when you sit behind that microphone and hear yourself for the first time on a condenser microphone is the most scariest, horrific thing you've ever heard in your life, and you can't replace that.
No, in the cans.
In the cans, correct.
You're speaking to me in English, but now what about all the 11 official languages that we have in the country? Do you touch on that in the course at all?
Because the industry out there, most of the work, 90% of the work will probably be in your English medium. That is what the industry sort of requires of you. I almost want to say all the other 10 official languages, except for English, is your own personal spice. It's your own personal add-on. That's where your character really comes out. That's where your personality really comes out. So in that sense, we encourage it. We don't try and change anyone or take away something like a natural accent from a mother tongue or something like that. That to me is extremely special. Let's just manipulate it to fit into a professional capacity for the voice, if I can put it that way. So it's basically English focused because of the industry requirements out there. But those other things like your mother tongue or where you come from, your heritage and all of that, we encourage it so strongly because we believe in personal uniqueness, and that's what's going to get you the job above someone else in that sense.
And I think also, like, if you're going into the course and one of your next assignments is to do a radio ad and so on, we always give the students their creativity. If they wanted to bring their own ad in their own language, that's always welcome as well. Specifically, because I think the biggest thing is, like, at the end of the course as well, all the footage that we've taken, all the voiceover artistry that you've done, that's something the students will take home with them. And that forms part of their portfolio. So if they are submitting to anything, any station or any multimedia company or something, that's some form of a portfolio. They have a platform to stand on and say, this is what I can do, this is me, and yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for giving us all that information. I'm sure that all our viewers are going to be very interested in that. And it's great that you've got 3 campuses because that means it's going to reach a lot more people. Awesome.
Cool.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time.
You too. Thanks, the two of you.
Very cool interview. It was nice. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for watching Talking Voiceovers. You don't want to miss any of the episodes, so make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you get the notifications.